Hi everybody, and welcome to video 5 in our Bluebells series. Now I've got all the pages left that we have left to do all ready to go, so we're just going to power on through. Wherever we leave off, we're just going to pick up in the next video and see how much we can get done. So we've done the cover 1, 2, and I made a card for this. I didn't make a tab because it would cut off this side of the house, and you know what I mean, if I had to cut it shorter. So I just left it as a extra part of the card that sticks out that you pull to get it out. And this worked out really pretty in here, I think. And then you open this way. I ended up putting a dot because I forgot to put a magnet underneath the belly band and underneath this paper. So that's okay. It's light enough. You can write on here still. And on here is the invisible side, so you don't even see it. Here's the card that goes in and out on this side. And I put it in far enough that it lines up. And we've got all of these levels going out. Here's our edge of our page. Here's our pocket or card that comes out of that whole section. So it just is layer, 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 layer. Some, like I say, layer, like a, I don't know. Anyway, some sort of an animal's layer, whatever kind of animals have them. And then we did this page. I did cut out this ephemera. Now, these were all stamps when it started out like this. My scan and cut did not detect all the little wavy edges on them, and so it cut some out as rectangles and squares, and then there were so many little pieces that it had cut out that it jammed. So I made it stop. I took the paper out, and then I cut out by hand the ones that were left, all but these, because they were a bit redundant. You know, I mean, we only need so many. It's not that big of a book. And then we have our words, which are kind of big. So we'll have to see how that goes. So we've got that to go back and do, you know, up here. So we got page 5. I've already made this card that goes in here. So I already made that. Ta-da! Okay, so I've made that. My ring's banging on the glass. So now we're on this page here. So of course I've rounded the edge on the outside corners, or the corners that needed to be rounded, and put it that way. They're not always on this side. There's a couple that are on this side. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a flip up and a flip down, and then we're going to hold them shut with this little spinner instead of magnets or whatever. So first thing we want to do is we want to cut these, and I want this to be the top, and I want this to be the bottom, I think. Now remember, they're not going to meet. They're not going to overlap. They're going to be apart by a little bit. So what I need to do, I think I want the side with the words. I wish that would have given me the scissors, but it doesn't. And then I'm going to flip it over this way so that I'm still working on this side. If I were to flip it this way, I would be cutting this side. Do you see what I mean? So I'm going to flip it this way, and then I'm going to work with it this way to determine the width and the height. So now let's just do the width, because then the height we're going to measure. I mean, you know, this is the one that we're going to do by hand, is what I'm saying. It's not going to be the whole width because of the corners. That will be okay. I can live with it. So we're going to cut this. So now we have the section that says bluebells and botanical bliss and all that there good stuff. Then we're going to measure it. We want a little bit of space in between to put our spinner in. It goes in with this little brad. Okay. And we're going to line it up with this edge. And let's see how long that is. Because we maybe could make a pocket. No, because I don't want to cover this up. That's why it's a flip down. Okay, we just have to remember that we need a 1/2 inch for the flip attachment. Okay, let's get you over there before you're lost. Okay, that's 5 1/4. So we need 5 3/4. And I'd really rather have the part that says bluebells, but it's too close to the edge. We're going to lose part of the word. So let's make sure that we get where it says botanical bliss. So we'll do 5 3/4, which is right in that part where it folds in half, of course. 5 3/4. So that's going to be our top. If I did this like this, and this like this, I could continue it, couldn't I? I'd still lose this, so there's no point. Okay, so we're going to do this like this. And we have to have room for this. I think the bottom part's going to end up being kind of small. I think we might have to shorten this a little bit by maybe 1/2 inch. That would be an inch. Maybe 1/4 inch. If you take 1/4 inch off, take it off where it says enchanting. Okay? Put it in the paper trimmer this way, where the blade is here, so that you can keep your botanical bliss. And in fact, if I thought about it, I would just do where it would show the botanical bliss, and then the bottom would come up to it there. There's an idea. There's an idea. An idea, my friend that lives in Maine. An idea. Okay. So, my neighbor's dog is barking. I know you can't hear it, but... Okay, so we want 4 inches, so 4 1/2. That worked out pretty well. And then we're going to score it at 1/2. It's going to work out nice. Then we'll put it on. We'll put this on. Then we'll measure the bottom from there. Okay? So we're going to save this where it says, you know, gardens and bluebells. We might be able to cut that off and use it as something. I doubt it. We don't really have that much left to do. This is going to be more of a writing, a little flip through writing journal than anything else, because we're not going to have a whole lot of small tags and stuff. It'll be more decorative. Okay, so let me score this by the half and put it on around the corners. Botanical Bliss, that works. Okay, and we'll ink it. Okay, quickly do this and let's miter the corners. Oh, I almost ripped the paper. I scored it too hard. Okay. I think there is a little tear right there. Wow. I got a little crazy, didn't I? Don't know my own strength. Oh, I know yesterday, or the previous video, I guess, I was talking about when I fell. And I know you guys are going to go, I hope you feel better and that in the comments, but you're going to actually see this 6 weeks after I filmed it. So thank you very much for your concern, because I know you're going to put that in the comments and I will see it. But actually, I'll be all better by then. All better. I mean, I may not stop falling by then, but I mean the boo-boos from this one will be all gone. Okay, so now let's put this in, see where we want it to be. I think we want it here. We want it right there in the middle of that. Okay, now I'm going to use my pokey tool only because the hole is so small. If I were to use my crocodile on the smallest setting, which I could, but it makes it a little loose. So I'm going to get out my smaller pokey tool, or awl. I like calling it a pokey tool. I got this from Lisa's Paper Lace and Bling. Her shop is not around anymore, but you can go to, or it was called Paper Lace and Bling, but you can still go to Lisa's Paper Lace and Bling Facebook group. She has some great tutorials. But I love the fact she sent it to me on a cork. I think she must have known. I wonder if that's big enough. No, it's going to have to be a little bit bigger. Alright, so let me erase this, so now it's not going to be centered. How very irritating. So we put the brad through the hole, and then we put the brad through this hole right here, and we turn this around. We fold the little brad's legs out, and we tighten them down, and then we tape it. Okay, so there's that part. At this point, you could stop right here and do this if you wanted to. And then you could still see that. You know, that's kind of tempting, isn't it? To not put the one on the bottom. But I would like to be complicated. I don't know, though. What does that look like? What if I did this on the bottom, even though it's not the same I could still line it up. And I'll mark it right there. Or where to score it. And then we'll round the corners. Yes, that's what we'll do. To put my pokey tool away so I'm poking myself with it. I'm going to try not to tear the paper this time. And we want to score it right there. Now at this point, if you want to open it up and cut part of that off, you can. We still have to figure out what image we're going to put on the back page. You know, on the back cover. I'm not sure what I want yet. I know that I want it to be just an image. I don't want it to have any pockets or, you know, flip outs or anything like that. Now, if you ink along the edge of something like this, this Distress Oxide is a lot worse about it than the Distress ink, but you need to wipe it up off your work mat or glass or whatever it is you're doing, because it almost leaves like an oily residue with the color. So you really don't want to have that on your work surface, because then if you slide something across it, then you're going to contaminate it. And it's not going to look very nice at all. I've done it before. But I do like the oxide better. Takes a minute to dry, actually. Not a minute exactly, but I mean, you know, a minute, just a minute. That's all I mean. I do not mean 60 seconds. I have to fill up my bottle. Oh, good grief. Now remember, we're going to line it up with this side over here. And then to close this, all we have to do is flip it like that. I almost made that too short. Oh, look, and you can see the little butterfly. Looks like the little butterfly's sitting right on there. Okay. So we've got that all done. All we have to do is embellish when it comes time to go back through and embellish. I know I could do it right when I do it and be done, but I know you guys like to get through the construction and stuff, and then you pretty much decorate whatever way you know. Our styles are different in most cases. Ugh. Couldn't get any glue to come out. Then I turn it right side up and it volcanoed out again, just like it did in video 4. So bizarre. Okay. That's all we have to do on that one, except for the embellishing. Probably put something here or maybe up here, I'm not sure. Okay, now on page 6, we're going to have some fun. You know what? Why don't we do page 7, which is easy. Get that done. And then maybe we can get the back done, and then all we'll have to do is page 6. We do that in the next video because it's kind of more of one of those 40-minute things, if you know what I mean. Okay, this is going to be our paper, and I have the corners rounded. And it says flowers from Shakespeare's garden. I like that. And there's a book, and I'm going to think we'll say it's a book of Shakespeare's plays. How about if we imagine that? We're going to do some scoring on here, and I'm going to try to be careful. I've already inked around the outside edges because I'm thoughtful that way. I love, love, love this image. So I'm going to try to get the scoring correct. Because even though the top is on there straight, sometimes doesn't mean my score line is going in the exact right place. You want to go from corner to corner. Wow. We get lucky on this one. All the sides are square. I keep thinking of that show, First Blood. I watched it all the way through, all the episodes, all the seasons, and I get all the way to the end. And I must say, it was underwhelming. I'm not going to say, in case some of you were inspired by me talking about it in the other series that I was filming. I think it was in the Buzz into Spring. Not the, how did that tear? Well, I'm going to have to print it out and do it again. But I'll ink it. And, we'll get the belly band on the page. How irritating. So you're going to ink the sides you didn't have until you folded it. I thought I heard something rip. It's so weird. This is 67-pound paper. All I did was score it twice. Unbelievable. Okay, so I had to put you on pause there for a second. So let's get our paper back out. And all I was going to do was put an acetate belly band on. And then we will pop this in here and cover that. Otherwise it'll be too busy. Let's get the acetate out. Oops, I have to get a new piece. We used a bunch of it up on that other section. Or it was the end of the other one that I was recording, which is a fairy spring, which is the collaboration that you just got through seeing, the 4-part collaboration that came out right before this. If you haven't seen that, do a hashtag for a fairy spring collab 24. Okay, so now couldn't remember what I was looking for. All right, let's start from the top. We'll okay, and put it here. And then let's have it that wide. You want it to hold that envelope in there really well. Okay. I was doing such a good job of doing a straight line right across the top that I did a straight line right across the top on the glass. The reason I do that is the Fabri-Tac just balls up. You can just rub it right off if it's still wet. In fact, this is going to be too loose. So let's do it here too. And we'll put a piece of ephemera across here. I think we've got some big enough to hide that. I want it to be snug enough to hold the envelope in sturdily. And I think that's going to do it. See? Just right. Don't want to stick it in the glue. And that way it covers up the other image. And then we've got room for a piece of something up here. Like this one. I'll take a piece of this. We'll cut it out. Now remember, this is just paper, so you have to be careful with it because it will fall apart if you're not careful. Okay, and then I just flip it over and put glue down through the paper. Usually without touching the paper if I don't have to. It makes it easier. I mean, you know, with the nozzle of the glue, I mean. And I just flip it over. This one I need to flip this way. And then I'll just stick it on here. There we go. So that's pretty neat. I like that. I like it way better than what it was originally going to be. I still have to redo the envelope, but for all intents and purposes, you know, for the even the flip through, whatever, you don't even really, you don't see it once I inked it. So I didn't cut out a card to fit in here. There was probably one on the ephemera sheets that was the right size to go in there, but I don't see it. I am so thirsty. Let's glue this one in. We'll look and see through the papers what we want to put on the back. We may not have time to put it on the back, but we all know that all you just do is cut it and glue it down. So maybe I'll put a hidden pocket on the back and we'll put a big writing card in there. Kind of the easy way out, but it's the back. You don't want to put something that's going to A, make it difficult to lay down when you lay it down, B, have stuff on it that's going to fall out or fall off. And I'm sure there's a C. I was thinking of a C. Then my mind just kind of blanked out the sea. And the ocean too. Not Tuesday. It's not my day to think. I only think on Tuesdays. Now you can do the same. If you get a little bit of acetate or glue on the acetate, you can take your fingernail and scrub it right off if you're quick enough. Okay, that looks good. I like that page. Thumbs up. Okay, on the back page, I think I have, I thought I had, yeah. I think we should put this on the back. Okay, and we're going to round the corners on the left side. Well, this page was just so difficult. I rank this a level 3 in difficulty. 1 being the easiest and 3 being the hardest. We'll just put that right on there. And we'll be done, and we'll come back with this one last video, and then we'll have a flip through video, and I'll fix the envelope, and then I will probably put this in my Ko-Fi shop and sell it. That's the mindset that I'm trying to get into, because I have too many books of my own. It costs me almost $50 a month for supplies, paper, glue, other miscellaneous small things. Onto that, paper and glue is about $35. So, yeah. So I need to start selling books. I don't want to. I want to keep them all. They're my babies. So, in the summer, when it's not cold, because I sold a book, and when it got to the nice lady who purchased it, the wax seal with the initial T on it that I signed my books with had fallen off. Now, fortunately, she was another crafter, and it didn't bother her, and she just glued it back on, no big whoop. She could see where it came from. But it was in a really nice lap book, and I'll tell you, I really have so much time on them that I can't sell them for anything like $25, or you know what I mean, anything like that. So it was kind of expensive, and I felt super bad, even though she was just like, no problem. And I realized it was probably the cold. So if it's in the summer, then you'll get a wax seal with my initial on it, T for Terry. If it's in the winter, then you'll get a little T Lee signed on it. I don't like to sign them. I usually, now this has a spot right here that would be okay. But, yeah. I do have a little signature that's the T Lee that I sign my Zentangles with. I do sign those and date them. I don't know if any of you do the Zentangles or not. Okay, so we've got that done. So all we have left to do is page 6. And we'll do that in the next video. Okay, and then we'll have time left over. We should. And, yeah, and then we'll have a flip through. It'll be like a barbecue. It'll be a flip through. Okay, all right, well, that's it for this video. And I'll see you in the next video. And that will be just a second for you and a day for me. Okay, bye-bye.